Hi, welcome to Yoga for Old Guys, and I'm Kurt Bowman. Thank you for joining. Today's practice is going to be about 30 minutes or so. I don't know exactly about that, but it's going to be very, very upper body centric. It's going to challenge the upper body, core, arms, shoulders, etc. So if you have any shoulder issues or you're not interested in building upper body strength, this isn't the practice for you. So let's go ahead and get started. Always in a comfortable seated position. And always go ahead and shut your eyes. Allow your focus to come into the present. If you don't do anything else in the next 30 minutes, just let your mind be present on the practice and not on the busyness of life. Focus on your back is straight, your arms are resting, your shoulders are resting, and you're growing tall, like someone was gently lifting you up from the head up. Breathe in through your nose and exhale through your nose. One more time. Let your eyes open. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, twist to the left. Your sits bones, those are actual structures. They're on the floor, and you're twisting with your upper body. Eyes might be looking over your left shoulder now, but let the torso and the shoulders twist. Go ahead and just drop that left shoulder. See if you've been forcing it up, holding it up. Yep. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, twist to the right. Are you twisting with your chest? Drop that right shoulder. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, lean forward at the waist. Let your head and neck drop. How far can your arms come down? Can you put your forearms flat on the ground? Inhale, come into seated, upright, and change the cross of your legs. Inhale one more time and fold forward again. Makes a difference on what is being stretched as to which leg is in front. Inhale, come into seated and roll over onto a tabletop. Always shoulders over wrists, neutral spine, hips over knees. Spread your knees a little bit, touch your big toes together, and push back into child's pose. Allow your head and neck to drop. Don't let them fight. And now inch your fingers a little further away from your body.
pull your knees together, still in kind of a child's pose, but now bring your hands back to the bottoms of your feet and curl down into what is called rabbit pose. Whole idea is to stretch out that back. If you can let your head fall and still keep your, let your glutes fall. Whole idea is, can you get your head and your glutes away from each other and stretch out the back. Come up into tabletop. Curl your toes down under and push back into the first down dog of the day. Pedal out your calves. Toes push back, push back. Push the glutes right up to that line where the ceiling meets the wall. And now walk your feet up to the front of your mat, coming into a forward fold. Allow your head and neck to drop. Go ahead and grab your elbows and just put a little bit of a bend in your knees and just sway side to side, stretching out the back again. Let your arms hang. Your knees are still bent a little bit. Bend them a little bit more. Drop your glutes a little bit. Stretch out those hamstrings. Gently push your hips up and bring your legs straight. Let your hands hang down to the floor as far as you're able. Stretch those hammies. And roll up one vertebrae at a time into mountain. Always in mountain, especially the first few times, exaggeratingly roll your shoulders back and down. Go ahead and squeeze your shoulder blades together, pointing your palms straight out. Give that neck a little turn here and there. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lifted. Exhale, come into high plank. Holding in high plank. Always in plank, if it's high or low, is your back and legs ramrod straight or your glutes engaged. Don't sink like this. Don't come in like this to give your back a break. Just you're high and you're tight. Now, as we lower, not yet, but as we lower, keep your elbows next to your ribs. Gone are the days where we're doing wide grip bench press or pull-up or push-ups. Elbows are tight. Come down, come down, come down. Your elbows are at 90. Nothing's touching, not your chest, not your stomach. And push straight back up into high plank. One more time, lower, lower, lower. Stop at 3-4 inches. Are you still straight? Are straight? Push up. Back into downward facing dog. Come into high plank. Lower, lower, lower very slowly. Very slowly. Hold at a couple inches off the ground. And all the way to the ground. Go ahead and rest your forehead on the mat. Adjust the shirt here. Forehead's on the mat, and your toes are flat, pointed back. Stick your arms straight out in front of you, over your head. Pinkies are on the ground, thumbs are pointed towards the ceiling. Knees are touching and your toes are touching. Push down with your pinkies only, and engage your shoulder blades by pushing your pinkies down. Keep your forehead down. Push, push. With your forehead on the ground, bring your arms straight back behind you into Superman arms. Everything is still on the ground except your arms. Bring them out away from your body about 1.5 feet. Raise your shoulders. Raise your shoulders. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Bring them back out in front of you. They're off the ground. They're off the ground. Everything's touching. And everything's on the ground. Take a breath. Get them straight out in front of you again. Pinkies down, thumbs up. Push your pinkies down, engage your shoulder blades. Now simultaneously push your toes down, forcing your knees off the ground. Knees are off the ground. Shoulder blades are engaged. Bring your arms back to Superman. Forehead's on the ground, knees are up because your toes are pushing down. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Raise your shoulders 1 inch. Raise them. Arms out in front of you. Everything's off the ground. Your knees and your arms. Forehead's on the ground. Everything's down. Take a breath. Pinkies pushing. Toes pushing. Knees are up. Shoulder blades engaged. Come into cactus arms. That means your chest is off the ground. Your head and neck are straight. Your eyes are looking down. Your chest is off. Your knees are off the ground. Your toes are pushing down. Raise your elbows. Raise them. Cactus arms. Raise them. W arms. Get your fingers out. Make a W. Raise your shoulders again. Bring them back. Arms into Superman. Chest is off the ground. Head's off the ground. Toes are pushing down. And everything comes to the ground. Take a breath. Hands back up over your head on the ground. Pinkies on the floor. Everything's down. Push down with your pinkies. Engage your shoulder blades. Push with your toes. Raise your knees. Come into cactus. Knees are off the ground. Feet are off the ground. Chest is off the ground. The only thing that's touching is your abs, your pelvis. Raise your shoulder or raise your elbows another inch. Keep your eyes looking down, your neck straight. Raise your feet another inch. Elbows another inch. Bring them up, bring them up. Superman arms straight behind you. Everything's still off the ground. Engage the shoulder blades. Raise your shoulders another inch. And down. Everything's down. Good job. Come up to tabletop. Toes together, knees apart, and push back into child's pose. Stretch that back out. Knees together, toes together. Bring your hands back by your feet. Curl into rabbit. Stretching out that back. And come up, and if you're able, sit back onto your heels. Back straight. Hands down. Sit as low as you're able. And come into tabletop. From tabletop, come into high plank. Back straight. Neck is straight, head is straight. Sometimes you might have to look about 6 inches out. Check your abs, are they engaged? Doesn't matter if there's a layer of unwanted fat there. Are your ab muscles engaged? Come down into traditional low plank. Everything's still straight. Pivot, plant the left hand on the mat, right hand on the mat, push yourself up into high plank. Lean forward, chest forward. Check your level. Lower, lower, lower into 4 inches. Push up. Lower, 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 lower into 4 inches. Push up. Lower, lower, lower into 4 inches. Push up. One more time. Lower, lower, lower 4 inches. And push up. Drop your knees. Push back into child's pose. Come into sitting back on your heels. Warrior's pose. No, it's not hero's pose. My mind is going here. Excuse me. Okay, come into tabletop. High plank. And come down into low plank. Now, pivot on your left forearm and come into side plank. Left side is down. Can you roll that shoulder back? Big thing here is to raise your hips more than you think, because they're going to sink. Raise them, raise them, raise them again. Come back into regular plank and right side. Pivot on the right forearm. Use your back straight, head straight. Raise those hips, raise those hips. Come back into low plank. Push up into high plank. Elbows next to your ribs, lower, lower, lower. 4 inches. Check your level. Push up. Drop your knees. Push back into child's pose. Take some breaths. Come up to tabletop and come into high plank. Bring your right leg back, turn your feet on the side, and you are in high plank on your left arm. Now, again, at a minimum, you want your hips straight. Don't do this. That's not the purpose here. We're trying to work those obliques, strength up through the chest. We're going to start here. Come back into high. Pivot over to the right side. And same thing. At a minimum, is there a nice line? Legs are engaged. Raise it. Raise your hip. Come back into high. Lower, lower, lower. 4 inches. Curl your toes back and push into upward facing dog. Curl them back and come into downward facing dog. Drop your knees, push back into child's pose. Come up to the heel sit. Next time I'll have looked up the name. I'm terrible with names. The simple one. And let's come into seated. Legs are out in front of you. No way of stretch. Just lean forward at the waist. Come down with your hands edging down to your ankles, maybe your heels, maybe the tops of your feet, maybe your toes. Stretch those hammies. Lean into it. Come back up into seated. Knees up. Sits bones down and engaged into the floor. And bring your feet up into boat. Arms up. back is straight. Here you want to engage as low on your abs as you're able. Straighten your left leg, keep your right straight. Switch, straighten the left. Switch on the left to left is straight now. Right is straight. Both are straight. How's your back? Straight, arms out. Come into low boat. Regular boat, bring it back up. Low boat. High boat, regular boat. Low boat. Up again. Squeeze it out. And feet to the floor. Roll back in and pull your knees into your chest. Hold your right knee in, drop your left leg to the floor. Bring your right ankle over your left knee and pull your left thigh up into reclined pigeon. Push that right knee out away from you a little bit. You feel that right hip opening up. Knees back up against your chest. Pull them both in. Hold the left knee to your chest, right leg to the floor. Drop your left ankle over your right knee and pull your right thigh, right knee up. Push your left knee away from your body. Whole idea here is you should feel the opening in your hips. If you say, geez, Kurt, my left knee is killing me. Something's wrong. Adjust. Because the stretch should be in your hips and glutes for this one. For some of us, our knees are messed up enough without doing this wrong. Squeeze it up a little more, pull that right knee up a little bit more. Oh, that feels good. Pull your knees, both of them, into your chest. Bring your head up to meet your knees. Drop your feet flat on the floor. Knees are pointing up. Roll your shoulder blades down and in. Get them underneath you. Bring your heels up as close to your butt as you're able and lift your hips coming into bridge. You're bridging onto your shoulder blades, not onto your neck. If you are crunching your cervical spine, those first 7 vertebrae, stop it. Too small to bear your weight of your body. Raise your hips, Raise them some more. Drop them to the floor. One more time, raise them up. Wherever they're at, raise them another 1/2 inch. Keep your knees tracking forward. Check your neck. Can you turn your head? Better. Some of you guys walking around, your heads are big enough. They're too big for your necks already. Don't put any more strain on your necks. And drop your hips. One last time, bring them up. Bring them up. One more time, bring them up higher. Squeeze those glutes together, guys. And everything to the floor. One more time. Knees to the chest. Knees to the chest. Bring your head up. Face to your knees. Feet to the floor. Put the soles of your feet together. Let your knees drop away from each other. Butterfly. And bring your feet mat width apart. Let your feet fall away from each other. Palms up, arms on the floor. Final Shavasana. Wake up your fingers and toes. Just bring those arms above your head like you're stretching out. Waking up in the morning, point them away from you a little bit. Roll to your side and gently bring yourself up to a comfortable seated position. I hope you found this to be challenging for your upper body and your core. That was the whole idea. If it wasn't, let me know. We'll intensify it for you next time. If it still wasn't, do it twice. But anyway, thanks for joining. I appreciate it. As always, with YouTube, you can help me out by liking and sharing. I appreciate that. I know who's out there watching and getting something of value from this. If you would bring your hands to heart center and drop your chin in gratitude to yourself for practicing. To you I say namaste. Thanks again. Take care. Have a great day.